The gavel comes down, ringing out like a clap of thunder through the silent courtroom. Glances snap forward, chests lock breath, hearts thump in throats as the judge raises his eyes. Rumors crept for months on whispers in dark corners, but today those rumors have been dragged into bright sunlight. Kody Brown, once the brash matriarch of America's most notorious plural family, slumps at the defense table. His jaw is clenched, his fingers drumming restlessly, his golden mane slicked back in a desperate attempt at calm. But the truth isn't disguised by hair or stance. Seated before him are the women who once promised forever: Christine, Janelle, Meri, and Robyn. But this time, Robyn is not by his side. She sits alone, her body stiff, her eyes filled with terror. Because today, in this courtroom, the private emails of Kody will be read into evidence, and what they say could rip apart the last remaining threads that keep this family intact. Secrets can last under silence, but not under evidence. The attorney for the wives rises, his tone level but cutting. "Your Honor, what we are about to show you transcends hearsay." These are Mr. Brown's words. Words he typed himself, stored in his own email. And today, they will make clear intent, deception, and betrayal. Christine leans forward, narrowed eyes, her breath like a blade. Janelle crosses her hands in her lap, lips pressed into a stiff line. Meri looks down, fingers shuddering, but her face is grim, nearly relieved. And Robyn shakes, her body jerking slightly, her lips whispering something she alone can hear. Kody tenses, his attorney laying a hand on his forearm, cautioning restraint. But his eyes burn with anger. He understands what's to come. He understands that the harm cannot be reversed. The lawyer picks up a pile of documents, well-printed emails extracted from online records. These are the communications Mr. Brown had with people over 3 years, he says. Some with relatives, some with strangers, but all showing an individual whose public persona is not his private self. The first email is read out loud. Kody's voice is not required. His words suffice. "I can't do this anymore. They drain me, they don't understand me. With you, I feel like I'm finally alive." A collective gasp runs through the courtroom. Christine's eyes sparkle with vindication and tears simultaneously. Janelle rolls her head back and forth, mouthing, "No." Meri clamps her lips shut to keep from shattering. And Robyn slumps forward, hiding her face in her hands as a sob comes from her lips. The gallery swivels in her direction, but no one makes a move. Kody jumps up from his chair. "That's out of context." He barks. The judge bangs his gavel. "Sit down, Mr. Brown." But the damage is already done. The picture is etched into every mind. Kody's words, his betrayal, and Robyn's pain. It's not so much the evidence that kills you sometimes. It's watching the reaction of the people you promised you'd keep safe. The attorney goes on, unyielding. Another email is read. "One day, I'll be free of them. They don't love me. They love what I gave them. But you love me for me. Wait for me." Christine gasps, covering her chest with her hand. Janelle looks at Kody, her eyes wide with shock. Meri slumps her shoulders, weeping silently now. And Robyn utters a scream that shatters the silence, a sound of anguish so open that it makes the courtroom wince. The judge bellows for order, but even his gavel cannot dampen the reverberation of that sob. Journalists write frantically, cameras snap in succession, and the gallery leans forward, desiring every syllable. But for the wives, it isn't showbiz. It's the ultimate proof of what they suspected. The lawyer savors his papers and addresses them directly. Mr. Brown's emails show not just betrayal, but intent. Intent to leave. Intent to lie. Intent to forge a new life beyond the family that he vowed to protect. Kody pounds his fists on the table, cracking. "They distorted this. They hacked me. This isn't." His lawyer pulls him back, speaking urgently in his ear. But already the room has found him guilty. Christine whispers, barely audibly, "You were plotting this all along." Janelle's head shakes, and her tears finally flow. Meri breathes, "We were nothing but stepping stones." And Robyn dissolves completely, hiding her face in her arms, her crying out of control. The most brutal betrayal isn't an action, it's a scheme. A scheme you never knew was being penned in another person's words. The judge appeals for a momentary recess to regain order. Individuals file out, their murmurs echoing through the corridors. Within, the wives are still seated, too shocked to budge. Christine gapes at the vacant bench. Janelle writes wildly in her notebook, maybe only to anchor herself. Meri swipes at her face, muttering prayers to herself. And Robyn hunches over the table, her frame shaking, her weeping uncontainable. Kody sits stiff, glancing at Robyn, but she refuses to look at him. For the first time, his most ardent defender has walked away. The gavel rings again. The judge's voice rings out. We will continue testimony shortly. But everyone knows, the true trial has already started, not in the court of law, but in the hearts of the wives who once loved him. When love collides with evidence, who survives? The recess is over, and the courtroom is filled once more. The benches groan under the load of curious bystanders, journalists, and strangers who were there for show but remained for tragedy. The air is thick now, not the tension of what may be to come, but the surety of what has already been seen. Kody Brown's emails loom above the room like thunderheads, waiting to burst again on each unread page. The wives return together, although their bodies hold differing energies. Christine's pace is crisp, her every step driven by pain and vindication. Janelle walks more slowly, her expression calm, but her eyes puffed up, as if she has spent the entire recess trying to comprehend the betrayal. Meri folds her hands tightly, muttering something beneath her breath that may be prayer, or maybe a plea for fortitude. And Robyn can barely walk. Her shoulders shake, her head bows low, and when she finally sits, she hides her face in trembling hands. Kody comes back in, accompanied by his attorney, his expression a mask of barely held fury. His jaw is clenched, his nostrils flaring, and his eyes scanning the courtroom like a trapped animal. He knows the story has changed. He's no longer the father protecting his family. He's the man whose own words are turning against him. The judge clears his throat. We will continue with testimony. Counsel, please proceed. The attorney for the wives stands again, his hands firm, his gaze keen. He pulls out another page from the file. Your Honor, this following email, written 2 years ago, specifically mentions not only intent, but strategy. The terms intent and strategy cause a stir in the gallery. Intent is choice. Strategy is planning. These aren't errors, they're choices. The lawyer starts to read. If they continue to fight me, I will cut them off. Money, assets, even the children. I will ensure they wish they had never turned against me. With you, I can start anew. I will not need them anymore. The room gasps. Christine bangs her hand on the table, crying openly. You threatened us, she says, her voice breaking. Janelle shakes her head, her eyes closed in wonder. Meri leans her head forward, tears falling silently onto the wood. And Robyn cries openly, her body rocking back and forth, the sound raw and unfiltered. Kody's attorney jumps to his feet. Objection, Your Honor. These are drafts, unsent, inadmissible as evidence of intent. The judge deliberates, then shakes his head. They are Mr. Brown's words. They will be admitted. Sometimes it's not the emails you send that are important. It's the ones you saved because they were too honest to delete. Kody explodes, his voice raw. That wasn't what I meant. I was venting. I was upset. Every husband vents. Every dad blurts things he doesn't mean. Christine's face snaps toward him, her tone cutting through the courtroom. But you wrote it down, Kody. You plotted. You deliberated. You made a decision, even if you never spoke it aloud. The judge bangs his gavel. Order. But the word doesn't erase what everyone heard. The emails aren't just evidence, they're confessions written in Kody's own hand. The attorney moves on, his voice calmer now, almost surgical. Another email, sent only 18 months ago. Robyn thinks I'm protecting us, but she doesn't know everything. She doesn't know about the accounts, or the plan. She doesn't need to. She'll thank me when it's over. Robyn's sobs break out again, more piercing this time. Her fists clutched over her chest, as if struck by the words themselves. She shakes her head wildly. No, Kody. You swore it to me. You told me you were truthful with me. Her voice shakes with heartbreak. Christine glances at her, her own tears falling, but her voice is not cruel. It's gentle, bordering on sympathetic. Now you see, Robyn. You weren't different. He lied to you too. Robyn cries harder, crashing onto the table. For the first time, her loyalty finally breaks down. The greatest betrayal is finding out that the one person you were sticking up for was keeping secrets from you all along. The gallery is silent, the tension almost too much to bear. The lawyer puts down the paper, his tone serious. Your Honor, the wives have long contended that Mr. Brown established a system of control, financial, emotional, and spiritual. and these emails prove it was not by mistake. It was intentional. Kody gets up once more, shaking a finger at Christine, Janelle, and Meri. You all disliked me. You pushed me away. And now you distort everything to make me the bad guy. He appeals frantically to Robyn. You know me, Robyn. You know who I am. Tell them. But Robyn can't bear to look at him. Her tears speak louder than words. The judge bangs his gavel once more. Mr. Brown, sit down or you will be removed from this courtroom. Kody falls back into the chair, his chest rising and falling, his hands shaking. For years he was the patriarch, the man in charge. But now his own words and his wife's tears reveal him to be something other altogether. The lawyer puts the papers down. Your Honor, the plaintiffs rest their case, but I request this court to recognize the severity of harm these words signify, not just to the wives, but to the children who witnessed a man speak one thing publicly and write another in personal life. The judge nods somberly. This court will take it into account. The hearing recesses, but the quiet in the room is more oppressive than ever before. Christine rises, her cheeks stained with tears, but her shoulders held high. Janelle dabs at her face and holds Christine's arm steady with a firm grip. Meri departs in silence, her face bent, but her steps firm. And Robyn stands there, frozen, unable to step away, still shaking with sobs. Kody stands up slowly, looking at her, his face contorted in desperation. Robyn, please, don't listen to them. Don't listen to the lies. But Robyn doesn't turn towards him. For the first time in years, she turns away. When the most faithful heart finally shatters, the man in the middle is left all alone. The bailiff ushers them out separately, but the tension doesn't dissipate. The gallery hums with murmurs, reporters swarm the doors, and the world waits with bated breath for what's next. Because everyone knows, if the email showed this much, the next hearing might expose even more sinister secrets. And Kody Brown, formerly sacrosanct, now appears like a man teetering at the precipice of disaster. The morning after, the courthouse is a different place. There is no murmur in the gallery as people come in, no laughter, no shuffling, just quiet. Everyone knows what is coming. More emails, more revelation, more hurt. The world outside is already abuzz. Headlines shrieking betrayal, betrayal, betrayal. But inside, the coiling tension tightens, ready to snap. The wives come in a group once more, but their footsteps are more labored. Christine's face is pinched, her lips clamped together, her eyes tired from long nights without sleep. Janelle holds on to her notepad, as if words on paper might stabilize her. Meri is pale and exhausted, but firm. And Robyn is a ghost, her eyes puffy from weeping, shoulders slumped, movements stiff, as if each muscle aches at being in the same room as Kody. Kody enters last, his attorney flanking him. His face is carefully composed, serene on the surface, but his eyes give him away, darting, restless, wild. He knows the storm doesn't pass. He knows the worst is yet to come. The judge calls the court to order. His gavel cracks and the wife's attorney stands. He carries another stack of printed emails. Your Honor, yesterday revealed intent. Today we show motive. The room tenses up. Motive is purpose. Motive is choice. He reads the first email out loud. They won't even see it coming. They think I'm still theirs, but I've already been over them. I just need time to organize it all. With you, I can finally breathe without the endless whining, the nagging, the bickering. They don't know me, not the real me. Christine gasps harshly, her tears instant. Janelle shakes her head, writing furiously in her notebook. Meri covers her face, whispering, God help us. And Robyn gasps as if hit. Her hands dash to her mouth, her body shaking wildly. No, she whispers through sobs, rocking in her chair. Kody jumps up, bellowing. Those were drafts. They meant nothing. The judge brings down his gavel. Sit down, Mr. Brown. At times the words you refer to as nothing are precisely the words that signify everything. The lawyer continues, unyielding. Another email appears, this one briefer, more ruthless. If they go away, let them. I'll retain what is mine. They can take the leftovers. The room gasps. Christine buries her face in her hands, weeping openly now. Janelle's face contorts with anger. Meri emits a shattered laugh, shaking her head. And Robyn weeps so hysterically the judge pauses to give her a moment. She grabs the table, her tears falling on the wood, her voice shaking. You said You said you loved us. You said you loved me. Kody doesn't budge. He doesn't even glance at her. The lawyer drops the page. Mr. Brown, you say these words meant nothing. But the fiscal records introduced by Mr. Jensen indicate your actions followed your words. Money flowed. Assets concealed. Emails with the promise of a new beginning while your family bore the weight. Kody pounds his fists on the table. You don't get it. You all don't get what it was like to have this family. 18 kids, 4 wives, cameras in my face. You don't think I didn't need escape? You don't think I wasn't sinking? Christine stands up from her chair, her voice breaking. We were sinking too, Kody, and you pulled our heads underwater. The courtroom gasps. The judge slams his gavel wildly. Order. Sit down, Mrs. Brown. But the words remain suspended, too great to be taken back. The truth doesn't vanish with the descent of the gavel. It remains, smoldering in silence. The lawyer scans over another, this one to the woman at the center of the affair. Robyn doesn't have to know. She'll do anything I say. She always has. She'll remain faithful, no matter. That's why she's the only one I keep. Robyn shatters. She bursts into tears, collapsing over the table, sobbing loudly, her cries bouncing off the walls of the courtroom. Her tears are no longer soft. They're raw. They're loud. The sound of a live broken heart. She is muttering, repeatedly. How could you? Christine observes her, streaming tears of her own. But her expression contains something more as well. Sorrow and vindication. Janelle sits back, shutting her eyes, struggling against her own sorrow. Meri clasps her hands together, muttering prayers. And Kody? Kody looks at Robyn, his face contorted in something that is not recognizable. Anger, desperation, fear. His mouth opens to utter something, but no sound emerges. The judge orders another recess, but the harm is done. The gallery hums with whispers. Reporters run out the doors. The wives cluster together, their tears bonding them. And Robyn doesn't budge. She remains crouched over the table, her body shaking, her weeping unrelenting. Kody reaches out to her, his voice gruff but urgent. Robyn, listen. They manipulated it. They want to kill us. Don't listen to them. But Robyn says nothing. She doesn't even glance at him. When silence is the replacement for loyalty, you know love has reduced to ashes. The session resumes and the attorney presents one final email. This one dated only months before the trial. They won't see it until it's too late. By then I'll be gone. They'll have nothing left but the wreckage. Christine cries again, barely above a whisper. That's what we were to you. Wreckage? Janelle whips her head from side to side, not even able to glance at Kody. Meri dabs at her face, her tears flowing steadily now. And Robyn. Robyn finally looks up, her face smeared with tears, her voice shaking but indignant. You lied to me, Kody. You lied to all of us, and I defended you. The room comes to a standstill. Robyn had been his defender for years, his protector, his faithful companion when the rest abandoned him. And now her words sting worse than any attorney's interrogation. Kody stands before her, his mouth agape, his posture stiff. For the first time he cannot reply. The judge bangs his gavel. Court adjourned for today. The wives walk out together, their steps firm though they weep. Robyn hangs back, then stands up gradually, walking by Kody without glancing at him. The cameras outside burst in flashes, reporters crying, Robyn, Robyn, do you still support Kody? She doesn't respond, her tears speak for her. And Kody? He sits alone, shaking in his fists, his eyes empty. For the first time, the man who once ruled over a family of 20 feels utterly forsaken. If loyalty is dead, what is next for him to lose? The courthouse is like a pressure cooker. As Session 3 commences, yesterday's news still hangs in the air. Robyn's tears, the incriminating emails, the time when her allegiance finally snapped. But today, the air is taut. Roar. The wives are primed. The lawyers are primed. The lawyers are primed. Even the reporters' pens hang in the balance, ready to stab at the paper like dagger. Christine comes first, her pace more brisk now, her expression determined. Janelle follows, serene but intense, her notebook held securely in her hand. Meri glides silently, her lips pursed thin, her eyes unwilling to glance at Kody's side of the courtroom. Robyn comes in last. Her body appears depleted, but her eyes, though puffy from weeping, hold a spark of something new. Determination. And Kody? He enters surrounded by his attorney, but the boldness that used to emanate from him is gone. His jaw tightens, his chest heaves too rapidly. His eyes scan like a man searching for an out that no longer exists. The judge enters. His gavel bashes once. Court is back in session. The attorney for the wives stands, documents in hand. His tone is measured, but the bed of flames burning beneath is inescapable. Your Honor, yesterday we demonstrated Mr. Brown's motive and intent by his emails. Today we have testimony from a witness to seeing those motives at work. The gallery hums. Kody's head jerks up, his face going white. His lawyer speaks frantically, but Kody shakes his head wildly. No, he says loudly, drawing the notice of all eyes. Occasionally terror is announced before the truth even comes. The bailiff opens the door, and a new witness emerges. It isn't the financial advisor. It isn't a stranger. It's one of Kody's older kids. Gasps spread throughout the room. Christine's hand shoots up to her mouth, tears springing instantly. Janelle clutches the table edge, her knuckles white. Meri lowers her head and speaks in a soft whisper, and Robyn breathes sharply, placing her shaking lips against her hand. Kody, on the other hand, pounds his fists on the table. No, not them. I won't let them. The judge's gavel sounds like thunder. Mr. Brown, be quiet, or be removed. The child climbs up onto the stand. Their voice shakes at first, then grows stronger with each sentence. I didn't want to be here, but I couldn't be quiet anymore. The attorney nods kindly. Can you explain to the court what you mean? The kid swallows, tears welling up in his eyes. He told us things he never said to Mom. He told us don't tell her. He told us we had to keep his secrets, that if we didn't, the family would break. And I believed him. For years I thought it was my fault. The courtroom gasps. Christine is crying openly, her hand across her mouth. Janelle dabs at her eyes, shaking her head. Meri clamps her hands together in silent prayer. Robyn quakes, whispering, "Oh God." Kody jumps up again, yelling, "Lies, that's lies. I never." The judge bangs the gavel again. Mr. Brown, sit down or I will hold you in contempt. Kody sits, his body trembling with fury. The most cruel betrayal is not the lies you lie to your lovers, it's the lies you make your children bear. The lawyer goes on. What was he asking you to keep as a secret? The boy's voice breaks. That he wasn't actually working. That he wasn't actually where he claimed to be. That he was seeing someone else. I overheard him on the phone. I read the text, and when I confronted him he screamed at me, said it would be my fault. The family dissolved if I said anything. Christine cries more, her head on Janelle. Janelle embraces her, silently crying. Meri whispers, "You never had to bear that," sobbing. Robyn bounces in her chair, crying freely. The attorney wants to know, why are you speaking out now? The kid's response is heart-wrenching, because I read the emails, and I knew it wasn't all about Mom. It wasn't all about them. He was going to leave us too. And I wasn't going to let him get away with pretending anymore. The gallery gasps in horror. The wives cry quietly. And Kody's face distorts into something monstrous, anger blended with terror. His attorney attempts to object, but the judge rules him down. The witness may continue. The child completes quietly. I loved him. I wanted to believe him, but love doesn't mean lying forever. The silence that ensues is agonizing. Even the reporters have ceased writing. Sometimes the truth doesn't scream. It whispers from the one voice you never wanted to hear. The attorney nods. No further questions, Your Honor. Kody's attorney takes his stand for cross-examination. He rubs his throat, his voice shaking. You adore your dad, don't you? The child's eyes shimmer. I wanted to. I still want to. But I cannot love the lies anymore. The lawyer breathes in defeat. No further questions. The judge dismisses the witness. They step down slowly, their tears still falling, but their shoulders straighter than when they entered. They don't look at Kody. They walk straight to their mother, collapsing into her arms. Christine holds them tight, sobbing into their hair. Janelle presses her hand against their back, whispering, "You're so brave." Meri wipes her cheeks, whispering a prayer of thanks. Robyn sobs again, her tears unstoppable. And Kody? He sits motionless, his mouth agape, fists balled, lips quivering. For the first time, the patriarch appears helpless, vulnerable, undone. The judge coughs. This court will recess tomorrow. Then we will consider closing evidence and present arguments. The gavel comes down. The wives collect their belongings, clustering together in groups with their children. Reporters dash outside, bellowing questions, flashes burst, headlines already being typed. But within, Kody sits, looking at the vacant stand where his child had testified, his gaze empty. He mumbles to himself, so soft that only his attorney can hear. They turned them against me. They all turned them against me. Even he doesn't sound entirely sure. When your own son is called to testify against you, the fight isn't about truth anymore. It's about survival. The doors shut behind him, and Kody is left alone with himself, and the world waits for the storm that breaks tomorrow. The gavel cracks once again the next morning, bringing the courtroom to order. The atmosphere is thick with what has already been spoken, and even thicker with what everyone senses is to come. Today is the day Kody Brown will be heard for himself. For weeks, his words have been read aloud, replayed, and analyzed by others. But today, for the very first time, he will mount the witness stand and attempt to reclaim his own narrative. The wives sit in stony silence. Christine's jaw is clenched, her eyes piercing, her gaze fixed ahead. Janelle grips her notebook. Though she writes nothing, she holds it as if it were the sole thing holding her upright. Meri sits silently, her lips clenched, her eyes exhausted. Robyn is pale, her hands tightly clenched in her lap, her tears welling close to the surface. Kody stands when summoned, striding toward the stand with the stiff gait of a man marching toward his own gallows. He extends his right hand, takes the oath, and sits. The courtroom falls silent for a moment. Even the air waits. His attorney approaches, speaking softly. "Mr. Brown, you've heard the testimony of your wives, witnesses, and even your own child. The court has heard emails, messages, and documents. Now, in your own words, describe what this has been like for you, and what you need the court to know." Kody leans forward, interlocking his fingers tightly. His voice shakes initially, but becomes stronger as he speaks. "I want the court to understand that I never intended to harm anyone. I am not a perfect man. I am not a perfect husband, but all that I did out of love. Out of love for my family. Out of love for the impossible burden I had to bear every single day." Christine suppresses a soft, bitter laugh. Janelle slowly shakes her head. Meri drops her gaze, her hands shaking, Robyn's eyes close, tears welling up. Kody goes on, more loudly now. "Those emails, those words, they were moments of weakness, late nights, frustration, fatigue. You can't judge a man on his worst moments. You can't take his private musings and portray them as his truth." The lawyer nods quietly. "So what is your truth, Mr. Brown?" Kody's eyes blaze. "My truth is that I bore this family. For 40 years I supported. I guarded. I defended us from a world that hated us. Do you have any idea what that does to a man? To live each day as a target. To have to balance 18 kids, 4 wives, money, cameras, and the critiquing of an entire nation. I was drowning, and when a man is drowning, he will grab what he can just to breathe. At times, the more that a man says he was saving his family, the more it sounds like he was attempting to save himself." His attorney continues. "And the women? What of the accusations you controlled them, that you betrayed them?" Kody stands up straight, his tone firm. "I didn't control them. I led them. Leadership isn't controlling people. Leadership is love. Love isn't always gentle. Sometimes love is hard choices. Sometimes love is holding people to their best when they want to quit. They say that's controlling. I say it's taking care of business." Christine curses softly under her breath. "Responsibility doesn't say I lie. Responsibility doesn't take without permission." Kody jerks his head towards her. "You left me way before I left you." The judge bangs his gavel. "Mr. Brown, speak to the court, not your wives." Kody takes a deep breath, his chest heaving with rage. He goes on, softer but no less rebellious. "They want to label me a liar. They want to label me a traitor. But I loved them. I still love them. And that woman," he points at Robyn, his voice breaking, "was there for me when everyone else wasn't. She was my anchor. My reason to exist. I never lied to her. Never the way they claim I did." Robyn finally opens her eyes, tears streaming down her face. Her lips quiver, her voice barely above a whisper. "You lied, Kody. You lied to me too." The words cut through the silence like a knife. Kody stops dead, his mouth agape, his eyes bulging. His attorney fidgets, looking down at his notes. When loyalty disintegrates, even the most powerful defense starts to weaken. Kody recovers fast, ruffling his head. No, no, Robyn, that's not so. You know me, you know my heart. But Robyn doesn't look up. She looks down at her knees, her tears dropping quietly. His attorney attempts to deflect. Mr. Brown, the court has received financial statements. How do you account for the secret accounts? Kody takes a deep breath, his voice indignant. Those weren't secret. Those were precautions. You think a family like ours isn't going to need protection? You think I can rely on everyone to be trustworthy with money? No, I did what I had to in order to keep us going. They call it secrecy. I call it prudence. Christine pounds her fist on the table. You call it theft. The judge thumps his gavel. Order. But the words hang there, irrefutable. Kody becomes more vociferous, agitated now. You think this was easy? You think I enjoyed sneaking around, writing emails in the dark, concealing my pain? I was attempting to keep us together while they were ripping us apart. They wanted freedom. They wanted independence. And when I attempted to keep us united, they turned on me. He bangs his fist on the stand, his voice breaking. I wasn't controlling them. I was loving them the best way I knew how. But when love looks like control, is it still love? The courtroom holds its breath, all eyes upon him. He's flushed, shaking, his words a jumble of anger and despair. His attorney attempts to calm him down, but it's in vain. The wives' lawyer stands up slowly, his tone steady but sharp. Mr. Brown, if this was love, if this was leadership, why are the women who once loved you, and the children who once trusted you, sitting here in tears? Kody's mouth forms a shape, but no sound emerges. His lips quake, his eyes leap frenetically, grasping for something to cling to, but finding nothing. The judge leans forward, his expression stern. We will recess until tomorrow. Tomorrow we will hear closing evidence and arguments. Mr. Brown, rein in yourself, or you will be escorted out. The gavel bangs. Christine breathes sharply, leaning back in her chair, her tears streaming but her eyes unbending. Janelle writes something on her notepad, her shaking hand. Meri wipes her face, her quiet sobs causing her shoulders to shake. Robyn sits frozen, looking at the ground, shattered. And Kody, he slumps into his chair, his chest panting, his hands shaking, his face a portrait of a man disintegrating before the world. When the man attempts to protect himself with love, but only demonstrates control, the sentence is already being written. The wives gather their belongings, departing in unison. The gallery clears, abuzz with muttering. Reporters dash out, eager to broadcast the next headline. But Kody remains immobile, mumbling under his breath. They don't understand. They never understood. And tomorrow, the court will rule on whether anyone ever will. The next morning, the courthouse is more still than ever. It's a silence that weighs against your chest, like the walls are holding their breath. The gallery is filled. Reporters perched on the edge of their benches, cameras stationed outside. Everyone senses the trial is turning now, away from the frenzy of testimony, and toward the chill of judgment. The wives come first, together again. Christine's feet are steady, but her face is wan, her eyes shadowed from sleepless nights. Janelle brings up the rear, her notepad still clutched in her hand, though she has not written a sentence in days. Meri is fatigued, her lips set tightly, her shoulders rigid. And Robyn shuffles, her face smeared by tears, her body visibly shaking, as though entering the courtroom again exhausts all she has left. Kody steps in last. He no longer struts with head held high. His jaw is clenched, his eyes cast down, his gait jerky. His attorney propels him forward, like a man leading his client to a certain doom. The judge enters. His gavel comes down once, and the air cracks with it. This court will now start balancing final evidence. Before entering into deliberation, the pre-verdict silence always weighs more heavily than the verdict itself. The attorney for the wives stands, another folder in his hand. Your Honor, we have one final series of emails that we need to enter into the record. He were recovered last night, authenticated by forensic specialists, and cross-checked against Mr. Brown's account. Kody's attorney leaps to his feet. Objection, Your Honor. Last minute, improper. But the judge holds up his hand. The court will hear it. Kody bangs his hand on the table, his voice shaking. No, this is a setup. They're creating this. The judge bangs his gavel. Sit down, Mr. Brown. The lawyer holds the papers aloft. His voice is firm, clipped. This chain proves not just motive and intent, but action. It indicates Mr. Brown's scheme to move assets and begin a new life beyond his family, all while having his wives and children believe he remained devoted. Gasp spreads throughout the courtroom. Christine clings to the table, her tears being instant. Janelle shakes her head, lips pressed so hard they're white. Meri mouths, "I knew it," her voice breaking. And Robyn falls forward again, her tears raw and unmanageable. The lawyer starts reading. "If I'm able to sell the properties quietly, they'll never know until it's too late. The accounts are prepared. The lawyer is prepared. Soon we'll be gone, and they'll be left with nothing but debt." The gallery erupts. Christine's tears run down her cheeks. Janelle spits out, "All those years, he was plotting this." Meri covers her chest with a whisper of prayer through the tears. And Robyn emits a scream so piercing that it leaves the gallery wincing. Kody springs to his feet, yelling, "They distorted this. That's not what I said." His attorney pulls him back down, but his words ring too loudly to be ignored. At other times the proof isn't in what you will do. It's in the step-by-step plans you outline. The lawyer goes on, reading the next line. "Robyn will never go away. She trusts me too much. The others? They can howl all they want. I'll take the entire thing that matters." Robyn gasps loudly, her tears unstoppable. She shakes her head, violently. You used me too." Her voice trembles, breaking the courtroom's silence. Christine stares at her, her own tears falling, but her tone is soft. "Now you see, Robyn. He lied to all of us." Robyn sobs harder, collapsing against the table. The lawyer lowers the papers. "Your Honor, this chain shows evident intent to cheat, to swindle, and to manipulate not just the plaintiffs, but even his most trusted partner." The judge nods seriously. "It shall be made part of the record." Kody pounds his fists on the stand, his face red, his voice raspy. "This is lies. I was defending the family. They don't get it. None of them ever got it." But his words now ring hollow, overwhelmed by the wail of his wife's tears and the scratch of reporters' pens. The moment that people stop believing your own defense is the moment your own words dig your grave. The judge bends forward. His tone is measured, but every word weighs more. "Mr. Brown, the evidence we've seen reveals persistent deception. From emails to banking records to testimony, the story repeats itself. You professed love, you professed leadership, but what the evidence indicates is different altogether." The wives catch their breath. Christine holds her hands tightly together. Janelle looks at the bench, her jaw shaking. Meri mutters quietly to herself. Robyn looks down at the table, her tears running steadily. Kody's eyes are wide. No, you don't get it. I was attempting to save us." But the judge does not waver. This court gauges intention, not by what a man says, but by what a man does. And what you did was write, record, and behave in ways which deceived those who trusted you most. There is silence in the room, crushing. The judge clears his throat. "We will recess for tomorrow morning, at 9 when final arguments will be heard, and this court will pronounce its judgment." The gavel crashes. The wives cluster together, their tears thick, but their eyes brighter than before. Christine speaks softly. "Tomorrow it ends." Janelle nods, her hands supporting her. Meri takes a deep breath, whispering, "Please God." And Robyn sits numb, her weeping softer now, but her face wan, her body shaking. Kody sits still. He sits tense, his fists tight, his lips shaking, his face the picture of a man trapped by his own words. When the judge starts to utter words, the verdict has already begun to reverberate in the room. The gallery clears out, the reporters scramble to present breaking news, and the courthouse doors shut. Everything will be different tomorrow. The courthouse is not the same today. Not tense, not heavy, but broken. The wives enter as a group, but their bodies buckle under the burden of what has already been uncovered. Christine's face is pinched, her eyes red and puffy. Janelle holds her notepad like a shield, her jaw set hard. Meri creeps silently, muttering to herself with each step, and Robyn, her skin ashen and puffy from crying, stumbles as she walks in. She's a woman drained, moving by sheer willpower. Kody comes in last. His walk is unsteady, his complexion ashen, his eyes scanning as if looking for an escape that is no longer there. He doesn't resemble yesterday's patriarch. He resembles a naked man. The judge bangs his gavel. Court is in session. Today we will have final testimony before closing arguments. The attorney for the wives stands. His voice is measured, unhurried. Your Honor, the plaintiffs call one last witness, one directly impacted by the decisions of Mr. Brown. We call his child back to the stand. Gasps run through the courtroom. Christine halts, her breath trapped. Janelle holds on to the table with white-knuckled hands. Meri clamps her lips, her eyes welling with tears. Robyn brings her trembling hand to her mouth. Kody bangs his fists on the table, his voice cracking. No, not again. You can't bring them into this again. The judge's gavel comes down hard. Mr. Brown, you will hold your tongue. And sometimes the most outspoken protest comes from people who already know what is to be revealed. The child stands, flanked by the bailiff. Their pace is slower this time, heavier as if the testimony yesterday etched years into their small body. They again take the oath, their voice shuddering but steady. They sit, their gaze darting for a moment toward Christine and Janelle, before focusing on the table. The lawyer starts softly. You testified yesterday concerning secrets you had. Today we are asking you regarding the emails that were shown last night. Have you seen them? The child nods, his voice trembling. Yes, I read them. The courtroom falls silent, everyone tilting forward. Can you explain to us what those words meant to you? The child breathes shakily, forming tears. It meant, everything that I thought was my fault wasn't my fault. He was setting it up for himself all along. He was going to leave, and he was going to leave us too. Christine cries openly, grasping her chest. Janelle buries her hands in her mouth, her tears streaming. Meri covers her eyes and mutters, God help us. And Robyn just wails, folding forward in her seat, her tears pouring across the table. Kody leaps up, yelling, that's not true. I never intended to abandon my children. Never. The judge bangs the gavel. Mr. Brown, that's enough. But the child gazes at him now, their tears flowing. You made me keep secrets. You said it was my fault if the family was broken. But it wasn't me. It was you. You wrote it down. You said we didn't count. You said you'd take what counted and give us leftovers. The words cut through the air like a knife. Christine gasps, her mouth covered by her hand. Janelle shakes her head wildly, her body shaking with sobs. Meri silently sobs, rocking back and forth. Robyn murmurs, oh God. Between sobs, Kody slumps back in his seat, his face white, his lips shaking. His lawyer attempts to prop him up, but he is a man disintegrating from the inside out. The most painful cut isn't inflicted by an adversary. It's inflicted by a child, finally speaking in words, what they've carried in secret for years. The lawyer goes on, quietly. What do you want the court to know? The child dabs at tears, her voice shaking but audible. I want them to understand. I tried. I tried to love him. I tried to trust him. But love is not supposed to sound like a secret. It's not supposed to sound like fear. The silence is oppressive. The gallery is frozen in place. Even the reporters are momentarily still, their pens suspended helplessly. The attorney nods. No further question. Kody's attorney stands up slowly. He speaks in a hesitant voice. You still love your father, don't you? The child takes a deep breath, his voice cracking. I love who I thought he was, not who he really is. The courtroom gasps once more. The lawyer gulps hard and sits back down, defeated. The judge clears his throat. The witness is excused. The child steps down, their tears falling but their backs straighter than before. They walk to their mother, who gathers them into her arms. Christine clutches them tightly, sobbing into their hair. Janelle rubs their back, whispering, you're brave. You're so brave. Meri wipes her cheeks, whispering prayers. Robyn covers her face, her sobs uncontrollable. And Kody slumps, his hands shaking, his face pale. For once he doesn't yell. He doesn't protest. He doesn't move. When your own son stops telling lies for you, the world stops believing you as well. The judge leans forward, his words unyielding. This court has heard enough testimony. Tomorrow we will proceed to closing arguments, and then deliver judgment. The gavel comes down. The wives collect their belongings, still with tears smudging their faces, but their footsteps more confident. The child grips Christine's arm, holding fast. Reporters move outside, already bellowing out headlines to microphones. The gallery clears quickly, whispers lingering in the air. But Kody sits, immobilized, staring at the door, through which his child departed. His lips are in motion, but none escape. He mutters to himself, repeatedly, "They turned them against me. They turned them against me." Even he doesn't sound convinced anymore. The courtroom fully clears out, leaving Kody alone. His attorney clears out papers, quietly, refusing to meet his eye. The silence becomes oppressive. And then, a movement in the gallery. A man rises, carrying a folder. He hands it to the wives' attorney. The attorney's eyes widen as he flips it open, his jaw tightening. He looks toward the judge's bench, then at Kody. Christine notices, her brow furrowing. Janelle leans closer, whispering. Meri's eyes narrow. Even Robyn lifts her head slightly, her tears momentarily paused. The lawyer leans in and says something to the judge. The judge gravely nods. And like that, another shadow is cast over the room. Another evidence. Another secret ready to burst. If a child's testimony can break this courtroom, what will be done with a new folder of secrets tomorrow? The courtroom is full the next morning. The atmosphere is heavy, agitated. Cameras and reporters overflow into the hallway, their shutters already firing before the gavel ever comes down. The hum is everywhere. A new folder, a new secret, something so incendiary. The judge himself appeared stunned. The wives enter slowly, together but exhausted. Christine enters with her child's hand in hers, her face determined, though the tears that smudge her cheeks. Janelle stays close by her side, her notepad held but abandoned. Meri glides quietly, eyes straight ahead, her hands firmly clasped, and Robyn stumbles in, leaning on the railing for support. She appears wrecked, her face pale, her body shaking as if she's entering a nightmare. Kody enters last, his face is ashen, his eyes red, his jaw clenched so tightly it looks painful. His lawyer whispers furiously. But Kody barely responds. He knows. Everyone knows. The judge enters and the gavel slams. This court is back in session. Yesterday new evidence was introduced. Today it will be presented in full. The attorney for the wives. He cradles the folder in his hands. Its edges frayed, its papers thick. His voice is firm, measured. Your Honor, this folder was anonymously given to us, but confirmed last night by forensic specialists. It is a combination of personal notes, emails, and documents, all of Mr. Brown. What they show is not only betrayal, but calculation. Gasps circle the gallery. Christine tenses. Janelle gasps, her hand clenching the notepad. Meri bends her head, mumbling softly. Robyn claps her hand over her mouth, her tears already welling. Kody bangs his fist on the table. No, those are private. You can't. The judge raps his gavel. Sit down, Mr. Brown. The last recourse of the guilty man is the adverb private. The lawyer opens the folder and takes out the first page. This is a quote from Mr. Brown's personal diary, written within a year of the date. He starts reading. They won't even suspect. I'll keep Robyn by my side. She trusts me, always has. The others? Just diversion. My strategy is straightforward. Lock down the assets, sell the properties, and sever the connections. They'll be livid. But by the time they realize it, I'll be in transit. Robyn and I will be safe. The courtroom gasps. Christine weeps outright, her hand over her mouth. Janelle recoils in anger, saying, all this time. Meri breaks out crying, whispering, distractions, that's what we were to him. And Robyn? Robyn falls to the floor, her body shaking as she weeps, whispering, you promised me, you promised me. Kody roars, that's not true. That was never to be read. The judge bangs the gavel. Mr. Brown, one more time, and you will be ejected from this courtroom. Sometimes the things you never intended to hear are the things that scream the loudest. The lawyer produces another paper. A letter written only months before. Written not to Robyn, not to Christine, not to Janelle or Meri, but to an out-of-state real estate broker. He reads, the properties are ready to sell. The money will be transferred through the reserve accounts. Keep it quiet. My family cannot know until the ink is dry. Gasps again. Christine shakes her head, crying harder. Janelle grumbles. He was selling everything out from under us. Meri wipes her cheeks, praying softly. And Robyn looks at Kody, white-faced, her lips shaking. She finally breaks her silence, her tone biting even as she cries. You were going to abandon us all. Even me. Kody stops in his tracks, his lips parting, but nothing escapes. The harshest wound is when the one person who trusted you is finally forced to see the truth. The attorney continues, pulling another page. Finally, notes regarding custody. Mr. Brown wrote, "If they resist, I'll fight them for the kids. They're my leverage. They'll cave if they think I'll take them away." The courtroom gasps louder than ever. Christine's tears turn to anger, her tone razor sharp. Leverage? They're not leverage. They're our children. Janelle stands, pointing a shaking finger at Kody. "How dare you?" Meri shakes her head, her voice shaking. "This was never about family. This was always about power." Robyn bursts into tears again, grasping her chest as if the words actually tore her wide open. Kody yells, his voice raspy, frantic. "That's not what I said. I'd never steal the children away from their mothers. I was bluffing." I was enraged, but his words become less convincing now. Overwhelmed by the noise of the wives' cries and the enraged scratching of reporters' pencils, the judge leans forward, his expression serious. "Mr. Brown, this evidence tells not the story of a man overwhelmed, but of a man plotting. Plotting betrayal, plotting deception, plotting abandonment." The room is quiet, oppressive. Christine cries silently, her tears dripping into her lap. Janelle shakes her head, her body quivering. Meri gasps hard, her prayer dissolving into a sob. Robyn falls forward once more, whispering, "You lied to all of us." And Kody sits immobile, his lips shaking, his fists quivering. Once, he has no alibi. When a man's own words fit too neatly with what he did, the verdict is already ringing in the room. The judge clears his throat. This court will recess until tomorrow. Closing arguments will be made, and judgment will be pronounced. The gavel comes down, sounding like a hammer ringing against a coffin. The wives depart together, their tears flowing hard, but their footsteps determined. Christine says softly, "Tomorrow it ends." Janelle nods, her mouth set. Meri breathes deeply, speaking softly. Robyn pauses, her gaze locked on Kody through blinding tears, before she shakes her head and exits. Kody sits still, his shaking body, his pale face. His lawyer stows papers silently, not meeting his eye. The courtroom clears. The reporters hasten outside. The cameras blink, but Kody remains behind, muttering to himself. They flipped it. They don't get it. Even he does not sound so sure anymore. If this was his strategy all along, then tomorrow, when the judge delivers his ruling, will be the day that it all falls apart. The last day breaks gray and soggy. Rain pounds the courthouse windows, thudding against the panes like a drumbeat. There are cameras on the steps outside, reporters pushing for space, their voices raised and insistent. Today's the verdict. Today it ends. Within, the atmosphere is heavy with fear. The benches are packed to the brim. Strangers, supporters, and critics lean in, their breathing shallow, their eyes open wide. They desire closure. They desire justice. The wives come in together, side by side. Christine's chin is up, even though her face is smeared with weariness. Janelle holds onto her notepad, for one final moment, her jaw set. Meri glides in silently, her hands folded, her lips murmuring prayer. Robyn comes last, white, shaking, already crying. She resembles a woman coming to her own funeral. And then Kody. He no longer struts. His golden hair is disheveled, his face colorless, his gait uncertain. He appears smaller, diminished, a specter of the man who once ruled over a family of 20. His lawyer accompanies him, but even the lawyer slumps, as if anticipating what lies ahead. The judge enters. The gavel cracks once, sharp and decisive. The room falls silent. This court has heard the evidence, weighed the testimony, and reviewed the documents presented. Today judgment will be delivered. There is silence before the verdict, not peace. It is the sound of lives soon to be rewritten. The judge goes on. "Mr. Brown, your defense was built on love, leadership, and responsibility, but the facts are otherwise. Your own words, in emails, in journals, in plans, are those of a man leaving behind his family, with only what benefited himself. Financial records verify deceit. Testimony from your wives and child demonstrate manipulation, secrecy, and fear." Christine holds Janelle's hand firmly, her silent tears falling. Meri lowers her head and mutters a prayer of gratitude. Robyn quietly weeps, shaking all over. The judge's tone becomes more serious. This court finds in favor of the plaintiffs. Mr. Brown's secret accounts will be confiscated and split evenly. Properties will be divided between the wives. Threats of custody, though not carried out, will be entered into the record as proof of emotional damage. And most significantly, this court recognizes the permanent harm done to spouses and children alike. Gasps spread through the gallery. Journalists write furiously. Cameras pop outside. Christine emits a sob, one of relief, not mourning. She hugs her child close, breathing, "We did it. It's over." Janelle takes a deep breath, her tears finally falling, breathing, "Justice." Meri buries her face in her hands, breathing, "Thank you, God." And Robyn leans forward, her sobs out of control, breathing, "Why? Why did you do this to us?" Kody remains immobile, wide-eyed, lip trembling. "No, no, this isn't real. This isn't happening." He mutters to himself. Judgment is not just finishing an argument. It reveals the truth you struggled to hide. The judge bangs his gavel. This case is closed. The courtroom erupts. Reporters dash for the doors, their voices ringing out. Brown family verdict. Kody loses everything. The gallery hums with shock and whispers. But the wives sit on, hugging each other, their tears boundless but their shoulders a little freer. Robyn continues to cry, her body quivering. Christine puts a hesitant hand on her shoulder. For the first time, Robyn doesn't push her away. She cries into her hands, sobbing. "He lied to me too." Christine speaks very quietly. "I know." Janelle glances at the bench, her gaze acute. "It's finally over." Meri speaks in a whisper. "No, it's just starting. But at least it's starting without him telling us what to do." The close of one chapter is ever the painful birth of another. Kody stands up finally, his legs trembling. His attorney attempts to lead him. He pushes him away. He scowls at the wives, his face flushed, his throat raw. "You think you won? You think this sets you free? You'll regret this. You'll all regret this." But his words sound hollow now, echoes in a courtroom that no longer listen. Christine stares at him, her tears steady, but her voice firm. "We already regretted you. Now we're free." The wives gather their belongings. Their child clings to Christine, whispering, "Is it over?" She nods, hugging them tightly. "Yes, baby, it's over." Robyn stands there, her tears unrestrained, her body convulsing. She glances at Kody, for the last time, her complexion pale, her eyes brimming with pain. "You ruined us. Not them. You." Kody's mouth opens, but nothing escapes. For the first time ever, he is speechless. The wives exit together, the doors slamming shut behind them. Out here, there are cameras flashing like lightning, reporters screaming questions, headlines already scrawled. But for the women, it makes no difference. The truth is out, the verdict rendered. And Kody, he remains alone. The sound of the gavel's crash, still ringing in his ears, his kingdom in ashes, his family lost. When the gavel falls, it doesn't just end a trial. It ends an empire built on lies. The rain outside falls harder now, washing the courthouse steps, blurring the camera lenses, soaking the reporters. But inside, the echoes of this trial will linger forever. Christine, Janelle, Meri and Robyn walk into a future they never imagined, not together as wives, but together as survivors. And the world is left to wonder, what does he do when the man who has made a career out of control has no one left to control?